So we've been having a bit of a sermon series. If this is your first time coming in this week or over the last couple weeks, we have begun, actually this is our fourth week in this series. The Bible doesn't say that. There are things that we have, people have misquoted, saying that it comes from the Bible. And for some, they're just catchy things that are good to remember. And we've kind of been looking at Scripture to understand whether that's real or not. Now, kids, I don't know how often you guys watch YouTube videos. Do you guys watch YouTube videos at all? Adults? Do you guys watch YouTube videos? There are a couple YouTube videos that are kind of hilarious. And what we're going to be talking about today is the thought or the saying, you get what you deserve. Right? Often we say, have you ever said that? Or actually, the way that I say it is, that's what you get. Right? When somebody does something that, we like this idea of justice. And there's some different videos that, you've seen these videos, there's one that is quite hilarious. They purposely leave a bicycle in a very busy area. Josh knows what I'm talking about. I showed him the other day. And they leave the bicycle out on purpose to see if someone would steal it. Has anybody seen these videos? Okay, but what they don't know is that the bicycle is attached to a chain that's attached to something that's fixed. So comes along a would-be thief, and the thief gets on the bicycle and begins to ride away, and it actually adds a little bit of drama when the person starts yelling, "Hey, that's my bike!" So of course, what does the person do naturally? They don't get off the bike, they go faster. So they ride, and then eventually the rope hits its full extension, which causes the bike to immediately stop, which causes the rider of the bicycle to go flying off the bike, or in some really bad cases, they kind of crash into it and they get hurt. And it's very easy. We look at that and we say, you get what you deserve, or that's what you get. That's what you get when you steal a bike. There's also a slew. Have you guys seen the prank fails? You guys know, everyone knows what a prank is, right? Well, these are people that try to do pranks in which they kind of backfire. There's one of a guy who's pushing another guy into a pool, but instead of pushing the guy, he slips off from him, and then he goes into the water instead. There was a video of a guy who, do you guys know what Roman candles are? The long fireworks that shoot things at him. Well, the guy lights it and he goes to shoot at somebody, not realizing he has it backwards. And he ends up shooting himself right in the face. And we would say, that's what you get, right? You get what you deserve. If you weren't trying to prank someone else, how about have you guys seen the disappearing penny trick? Yes. Have you guys seen this? Yes. Now, this is a public service announcement. To make sure you don't get pranked by this. The idea is that you get a water bottle and you tell the person that you are going to make the penny vanish. So you take the penny or the water bottle and you drop a penny into it, and then you cover it with a napkin, something, a cloth. You say some magical words, and then when you take it off, you look in and you say, "See, the penny's gone." And you invite the person to look in. And when they do, and the water gets them right in the face. Well, I saw two videos where they didn't squeeze it this way, they squeezed it this way, and in doing so, tipped the front towards their face. When they squeezed it, they went like this, and it went right in their own face. And we would say, that's what you get, right? We say that often. We have this sense of balance. If something bad happens, well, it must be because the world, some people use the word karma, right? Karma. What comes around goes around, right? This idea that when bad things happen, it's because, well, you caused it. I think a lot of us may be familiar with a guy by the name of Job. Job has a very interesting story that he was very wealthy. He was a follower of God. He has lots of material possessions. But over a course of time, he begins to lose everything. His kids die in terrible accidents. His wealth and his cattle are gone. And then eventually Job himself becomes plagued physically. Now Job has 3 friends who really are supposed to be there as a support, but as you read the account of Job, what they end up saying to Job, kind of in a summary, is, well, Job, you get what you deserve. You see, they pointed at Job and said, your situation was caused by something you have done. So obviously, Job, you have sinned. Obviously, you have been thinking prideful about yourself. Obviously, there is something that you are doing that is causing these bad things to happen. But what we've learned from James is a bit of a contradiction, because in James it talks about how this trouble really comes for everybody. Have you heard the scripture before that the rain falls on the just and the unjust? That means in this world, in our lives, we are going to have bad things that happen. And it's very easy for either us to say of ourselves or us to say as the church, well, you know, what goes around comes around. You get what you deserve. That's what you get. But God works from a totally different perspective. You see, in this world, we are going to have struggles. We are going to have challenges. Bad things will happen. And it's not so much that God is causing them to happen, that God is somehow getting even for what you have done, or He's trying to balance the scales. But the reality is, we live in an evil world. When Adam and Eve, you guys know who that is, Adam and Eve? From Genesis chapter 2, Adam and Eve were created, and then they were disobedient. And by their disobedience, they brought sin into the world. Our world has become broken. People have become broken. So kids, the message for you guys is that you are going to encounter people in school that just are plain not nice. They don't do nice things. They behave in bad ways. They will say nasty things. But you need to know that when someone acts that way, you don't deserve that. Do you hear me? Because of who you are, because of how God created you, you don't deserve to be treated in that way. But sometimes we feel that way. And adults, if you can remember, there's probably things that you hang on to because of how you were treated. Maybe by other kids, maybe by parents, maybe by relatives, maybe by another adult, siblings. And we hang on to those and we feel, I don't deserve happiness. I don't deserve these things because obviously I get what I deserve. But the truth of the gospel is that we all will go through that. And here is the secret. This is how we get through that. Is knowing who we are in Jesus. You see, Jesus isn't an afterthought. He needs to be the first thought because He's the one that's going to remind you that you're beautiful. He's going to remind you that you're capable. He's going to remind you that you're talented. He's going to remind you that you're good enough. We think about all those scriptures, right? I am Psalm 139. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. That's how God has created each one of us. And so I want us each to be encouraged that when we think when bad things happen in life, it's something that we deserve. That's not the reality. It wasn't the reality for Job. It's not the reality in how God works. It's the reality of a sin-broken world. But there is hope through it. The hope is that Jesus can remind us of our identity.